All right, today we are diving deep into a really challenging and honestly pretty controversial book, Karla Turner's Taken. This book looks at the incredibly personal and strangely consistent stories of 8 different women who all believed they were part of some ongoing alien abduction agenda. Now, this isn't your typical story about a one-time UFO sighting. No, according to this book, we're talking about a lifelong pattern of intrusion, something that completely shatters a person's reality from the inside out. Okay, let's just start with this quote from one of the subjects, Beth. This is a perfect example of what researchers call missing time. A few hours, they're just gone. The book basically says this is a super common way people first realize something is wrong. It's not a clear memory of a spaceship or an alien, it's just a gap, a total disorientation that becomes the first crack in the mirror of their reality. And that's because, according to Turner's research, these experiences almost never start with some big, clear-cut encounter. Instead, the book describes it as more of a slow burn, a building pattern of weird, unexplainable events that just keeps happening until the person literally cannot ignore it anymore. Now, what's so fascinating here is just how consistent these first signs are. We're not talking about one-off oddities. Turner documents the same pattern across all 8 women. You know, one woman, Lisa, wrote in her journal about seeing these bouncing balls of light just zipping around her room. Others talk about waking up with strange bruises, sometimes in weird triangular patterns, or scratches they have no memory of getting. It's this pileup of high strangeness events that really forms that first layer of the phenomenon described in the book. So let's move from all that weird stuff on the edges and get right to the core of the abduction memories themselves. The book takes all these fragmented, super traumatic accounts and pieces them together. And when it does, a shockingly consistent story starts to emerge. First off, it's not just one type of being. The stories describe a whole cast of characters. I mean, you've got your iconic little grays with the big eyes, of course. But then there are these tall, pale, human-looking figures, and even reptilian or cat-eyed beings. But here's the crucial part. They are often seen working together. And that suggests, according to the book, a really complex, organized operation, not just a bunch of different groups acting on their own. And this right here, this illustrates one of the most terrifyingly consistent parts of the whole narrative, the physical exam. The accounts are just chillingly similar. People describe being completely paralyzed, put on a cold metal table, and then subjected to these invasive procedures. We're talking probes going into the nasal cavity or the navel, with this intense focus on the brain and reproductive system. And almost every single time, it ends with a command, "You will forget this." This account from Polly is just haunting. It really drives home that these reported memories aren't just things that happen to them as adults. They often trace all the way back to early childhood, leaving this deep psychological mark that can literally last a lifetime. That obsession she talks about, it just shows you how deep and traumatic these fragmented images really are. And now we get to what might be the single most controversial and complicating part of this entire book. I'm talking about the persistent appearance of human personnel, often described as military, right alongside the alien beings. Just listen to this account from Angie. It is so direct and startling. She's not just describing aliens, she's describing being taken by human men in uniforms to a place that she says looked like a military base. This is a recurring theme throughout the book, and it suggests that whatever this phenomenon is, it isn't just alien. There's a deeply disturbing human dimension to it. Which, of course, raises the central question. If we're taking these accounts as they're reported, then what on earth is the role of these human groups? Are they collaborators? Are they competitors? Or are they something else entirely? So this table really lays out the bizarre parallel tracks of what's supposedly going on. Both groups are reportedly abducting people, but their methods are different. While the alien groups are conducting what they call teaching sessions, the human groups are interrogating the subjects about their alien encounters. But the most shocking claim comes from Angie, who says she was told that a military-type group uses its own implants to monitor the alien ones. This paints a picture that is not a simple collaboration. It's a complex, tense relationship of maybe collusion, maybe competition. It's a mess. So all of these incredibly complex, manipulative events, they all lead to the book's ultimate question. What is the true purpose here? What is the final agenda? And this is where the book presents this profound ambiguity. Because on one hand, the subjects are given these messages of hope, that the beings are benevolent saviors, that they're here to help us avoid some catastrophe. But then on the other hand, their actions are described as absolutely terrifying and controlling. They're creating hybrid beings, threatening people, and seem totally focused on deception and manipulation. This contradiction, it's right at the heart of the whole mystery. And according to one of the subjects, a woman named Amy, this is the ultimate tool of that control. She described, under hypnosis, these small implants that can be used like a switch to punish someone, to control their consciousness, or even to kill them. And the detail that they use the host's own brain for power, that makes it a perfect self-sustaining system of manipulation. This quote from Polly just perfectly captures the psychological trap described in Taken. It's this internal battle between her rational mind, which can see the deception and the control, and this deeply programmed emotional bond to her captors. A manufactured trust that, as she says, she finds even more terrifying than the fear itself. In the end, Karla Turner's work doesn't give you any easy answers. It doesn't wrap this up with a neat little bow. Instead, it just presents this deeply unsettling pattern of testimony. It compiles all this evidence. And then it leaves us with one huge, unresolved question. If we accept these accounts as they are reported, what is the true, ultimate agenda behind it all?